Bantu abahle, welcome to yet another awesome episode of eKhaya Conversations. This episode is proudly brought to you by eKhaya Ngobugcisa, a women's cooperative that specializes in audiovisual, creative administrative support, and project management. So if you are in need of these services, kindly contact them on 073 8455 724, or you can email them at ekhaya@outlook.com, or simply just send them an inbox on Facebook at eKhaya Ngobugcisa Women's Co-op. Anyways, please do enjoy the rest of the show, and if you like anything about what we bring on the show, kindly hit the subscribe button and notification button so that ungaphosa nantoni na that we're bringing on this platform. Ndiyabulela kakhulu.
Welcome to eKhaya.
We'll keep that. Molweni. We'll keep that. Kabulawa. Molweni bantu abahle. Igama lami ndinguvuyiseka Maguga, also known as Love Child, and these are eKhaya Conversations right here on eKhaya Sessions. You can already see my face bar. So okokoko sihleka. So today we have a comedian, Mbulelo, Msongelwa. He's a husband, soon to be husband. Yeah. So yeah, congratulations, King. I'm a fan of Black Love, so
For sure.
I'm always rooting for, especially in the art space, because artistry.
We need that.
We need that because you need someone that is sane to participate this thing. Yeah. Well, so congrats. He's a father as well. So a present father.
I do my thing. It's working down there, y'all.
Amen. So I think you are one of the few people that pioneered this art thing. When I say art, I mean music and comedy in your case. I saw a lot of hip hop DJs, especially like Miss J. I saw her through you, and I like her. She's like one of my favorites DJ in I think in the world. Like I've seen her doing amazing stuff, and every time I'm in her presence, it's always good vibes.
Hold up,
yeah,
man. Who are we interviewing?
Wait!
Okay.
I'm coming. Go compliment her. This is you. I'm trying to say thank you for Stibanisa.
Best DJ in the world. But we got Mbulelo here as a community. But Miss J is the best. We try to use you to get Miss J closer. But Miss J, we hope you're watching. Imagine the first 5 sentences, Miss J. What she saw her through me, you know.
That's what I'm getting at.
It's taking too long.
They don't normally kept them. Otherwise, I met her through you, and I'm grateful. And I think you're one of the people that pioneered this thing, and even the movement, man, in the scene has always been different than one of the other cats. I don't know, is that Mabomu or?
For me, I got to a stage where, you know, you get to different plateaus. I will always perform comedy. Get to a stage where you want to do events that you yourself would enjoy.
Okay. Oh yes. Oh
that's
yeah.
you and the ingredients are always there. This is PE, man. The ingredients are always there. An example, Sam she's always been my friend. I first saw her in 2013, and as you fell in love with her like that, I did as well. And I was like, dude, one day we're gonna work together. And yes, but just wait now. Don't wait for my call, Kubekek. But when my call comes,
please pick up.
Yeah. So but we got together, and I'm like, this is an event that I'd like to go to. Some comedy, some live music, some DJs. Some DJs. And I thought I wasn't out there to be like put out female DJs or no. it was Sam. I'm like, no, Sam, let's keep it like this. So you bring your crew. And she brought her crew. You know Miss Lou.
Yeah.
Our Miss Lou. And then I've got, the other guys there, which is the comedy element. And then we always add like live music. And to say it like that, like now when I come here, there's people I've never seen before. And it feels so wrong. Because umuntu ufuna uyambona uba lo muntu hasn't started singing just yesterday. They've been around. So, it's movement around, man, and you sometimes you like people and you're like, I don't know what, but we're gonna do this like this. We're gonna science as I don't know how. So that's how it worked. So the ultimate is maybe next year I might, because I'll be growing older, or in the next 10 years, it's gonna change to suit my age and what entertains me. Yeah, so I like to keep it to that and try to educate the audience. And hey guys, come see whatever you want to see. I'm like, guys, come see what we have. Yeah, and then if you like it, tell a friend.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a matter of creating the spaces that you would enjoy. If that makes sense.
So has it always been comedy? Like, were you always funny?
Yeah, I've always been funny, but it's not always been comedy, because I never thought of it as something
that way.
I never thought I've never, like, probably the first comedian I saw on TV was Chris Rock, and he's American, but still it never registered to me. But this is a career path. It was only years later when I think I saw some South African comedians on a DVD. It was 2009, in fact, and I'm like, how much it? There's a platform for this, and I can do that like that guy, even better than that guy. So I'm gonna do this. But it hasn't always been comedy. But here's the thing: people who knew me, like from high school and whatnot, if it's 24 years later, when they meet me and be like, "What are you up to?" and I say I'm a comedian, no one is like, "What, you?" Everyone is like, "Okay, okay, I see how it happened." No, dude, I used to work at a furniture shop.
Yeah.
I don't want to say the names because, according to the producer, Siyathengisa. We can't just be dropping names. And then people are going to buy that furniture shop just so they can ask, what's really
pick it up.
And I walked away, like, with no plan B, because that kapuka, they pissed me off. Kwakukho way kuthiwa Fanta, so you think you're funny. David Cow and Tosh Madlingozi. So it came to town, and I asked my manager, man, this is the deal. I'm just gonna go to this in my school uniform. I'll be back in 2 hours, and if you need me to work on my off day, you don't have to be bargaining. And they said no. So I missed that audition. Maybe a blessing in disguise, but at the time I was like, and I remember I went upstairs. It was the furniture show was in Green Acres. So every lunchtime I'd go upstairs, smoke a blunt. And I don't know what was in that weed, that particular weed on that day. But I just walked in and was like, fuck all of you niggas. Like I had that mentality, like picked up my bags, blah, blah, blah. And I walked out the front. And they're like, no. And then the next day I brought back the uniform. And then, so what do you do? You just gotta find a new job. I'm like, no. All I know is that I don't want to be here. You know what I mean? I ended up working at a music store just, to keep ends. Even them, I'm like, fuck with me once. Like, I still didn't know how I'm going to do this. I still had no clue. It's actually quite an interesting story. Because,
it is.
Because what I did then is, because we used to go to Central a lot. There was, and I don't know if you guys, if you found your talents earlier, but for an era of like in your 20s, if you are around the artistic space and you haven't found what it is that you're meant to do on stage, you will think that you're a rapper. Oh, good sci-fi. So I come to Ngando. And this is a scientific for H2O in my molecules. I'm Einstein. like, it's one of those that I'm glad I never recorded a song because I'd listen to it and I'd be like, oh, hi, man.
Cringe.
Cringe words. Like, yo. It cringe words. So I used to be in those spaces, and then I'm like, nah, this is not for me. Because then you see people who are better and they're just effortless. Like, I remember seeing Kasha, and I'm like, you know how you feel. Sorry to always digress. You know how you feel. You wouldn't know because you can sing. But for those of us who can't sing, you know how you feel when you go to karaoke and then there's people there who can actually sing. Yeah, and they don't even allow you to sing along because now they sing their own version of the song. But they don't even go in without bouncing. This is why we are here. So I lost my train of thought now. So that was like that when it came to rapping for me. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Ningahambi nje machicha niyo rapper uyabona no Q-tip no niyeke thina aba ngale karaoke rap kutheni ngekho pha emazweni. But then after that I started walking around and like at every cypher I'd tell people, yo man, I'm gonna start doing comedy now. And it wasn't to get like permission from people. No. It was so that when they saw me in 2 weeks' time, they're gonna ask me, yo, yeah, but you said you're gonna start doing comedy. So that pressure is coming.
You are held accountable for what you said.
And I wanted that pressure. Mind you, bruh, I just have concepts of jokes. I've never written a joke in my life. I just have concepts. And in my head, I'm thinking, yo, Jonga, it's about 2 hours worth of material. Who's on you? And then the one day, this guy calls me. I don't know if you know Zipu, HIM. HIM, a friend of mine. He wasn't a friend of mine back then. He calls. He's like, Excel, you're the comedian. And I've never spoken to the guy. He's like, you're a comedian. I'm like, I guess so. Yeah. He was like, come through in 2 weeks' time. We have a variety show. We want you to do 30 minutes. And I'm like, 30 minutes? Shit, come through. Yo, 2 hours. Ooh, it's going to be fire. Day before the event. This is how dope I thought I was. I only started writing jokes the day before the event. The event was on a Sunday, and Saturday night, not even like Saturday, Saturday night, I spent the morning. Practice it. It's like 2 minutes long. It was 2 minutes long. And so I practiced it slower, like with like crowd walk. Hey, good evening, everybody. And then I do the material, and then it was 2 minutes and 15 seconds long. So anyway, he said I must make 2 15-minute sets, right? So I write 2 15-minute sets. And each set has only got like 2 or 3 jokes that start and finish. The rest is still just on the conceptual stage.
Yeah.
Like, you know. So when we get there, I say, what is this place called? A Dash in Parliament Street. There's a place called Dash upstairs. And we're supposed to start at 4 in the afternoon. Hey, by 3, people are there. Hit 4, people are there. Yeah, well, there's a problem at Dash, so now they have to change to Spotted Cow, which is downstairs.
Oh, yes.
The show ended up starting at 6. Now, there's no back in London. HIM calls me outside. And the stage is, as you walk through the door, now it's a stage, calls me outside. He's like, yo, man, these people are rowdy. They've been here for hours, and you're the only comedian here. So we'd like you to calm them down. And I was telling my friend the other day, that was like my moment of truth, because he left me after he said that. And I'm like, nah, man, fuck this. I'm going down Parliament Street. Your quickly takes 10 minutes. And then I turned by the All Night store. I'm like, no, man, do this now and find out. It just got worse and worse, because when they introduced me, they didn't introduce. Now, understand the era of the culture. No one was doing stand-up comedy. Nobody. Like, there was no stand-up. I didn't know anybody. And within that space, I was the only one. These guys didn't even introduce me as a comedian, to clarify to the audience. And at the time, I didn't have the skill on stage, to sort of deal with that situation. So I just got it. Luckily, some people knew that I was there for comedy. So I just got on and did jokes. Now, dude, I killed. Because what I did is, I took all the jokes that work. I took from that second 15 minutes, that's it, 15 minutes, and I killed, like, brilliantly. Like, I was like, hey, show carries on. And then, I think about 3 hours later, there was like poetry. And then my old friends come, and they're late, so they drunk, and they're not used to art. About to be house in there, in clubs and whatnot. So it's spaces in. And again, when you have the poets, but in my mind, I hear fun this color minds. I hey, funny na in my mind's eye. And I took the mic, and finally they had to give in. Otherwise, the show would be like, I went in. I sucked.
The
I
second time.
sucked. Because it jokes as and I thought, okay, none of them work. But then I bowed out on some, man, I bombed right there. Well, thank you very much. But that day I was like, I'm not doing anything else for the rest of my life.
This is it.
And, for 15, 14 years later.
You're still in this thing.
You're in the grand.
Eskela, I had abantu enanifunda nabo find there was Kalela classini. Kalela.
Ningali ngiyabona aniyazi ba yabona ezinyazi artificial lokuzenza ngezinto
Hey guys, it's a whole different. I was saying, Eskela, I was in class. Class nandifunda kwa 10E. Yeah. There's a joke that's going around about people abebefunda kwa 10E. So nandifunda kwa 10E, and we.
What school was this?
Maspatsane. Yeah.
Oh,
Nandifunda Uyakim was 2 grades higher than me.
Why you keep on talking about other people, man?
Just so you know.
You must have built.
So I was in class with class yam had
Sorry, you must participate during the day.
No. I don't know. I must participate.
Okay.
So there were people that were talented at class yam, and there was Usakumzi Sam, there was Unzofta, there was Pumzile Tag. Usakumzi was intelligent and funny, but was stout and thought. Usakumzi wayebanjwa abuye sipala exam 2 subject later afika pale passe. Yabo? Unzofta was a clown.
Oh, okay.
Unzofta was a clown. Utaki, he was a wayezoba. So he would everything that's funny eyenzekayo eklasini. Ayizobe phansi, and so now looking back ngoku, like I see Herald, there's that. I see you guys. And I'm like, hey, if I'd known ngela xesha, I would have dibakrobise bajonga man khona ilentuka chance yoba you can be in Zofta, you can be a Jim Carrey, a Sam, you can be a Mbu, Daki bone ungabethe ezawe. So it's just that back then it was never a thing. So I know, but okay, you for that moment, for you it was like the rest of your life, this is what you do, this is what you're gonna do. When did it actually like become okay, you know what, I need to treat this like a 9 to 5? Because I worked in a 9 to 5, and for Masba, I wake up every day and dedicate myself clear way. So when I stopped working, I was like, this thing of mine is a 9 to 5. In fact, it's not even, I said, say 24-hour thing, yabo. Divuka ekseni ndinengoma ntintini. If I need to work on a document, and lala ekseni, it's just to make sure about, okay. So for you, when did you come back, okay, you know what? This is actually a 9 to 5 more than anything, you know, but I felt good on stage at that time. This is what I'm passionate about. Then this,
I need to monetize it.
Yeah.
I know. I'd never categorize it like a 9 to 5. I hate that. I hate fixed structure.
Yes.
I'm very anti-establishment and authority. Like I want.
Yeah.
Don't tell me. So my moment. No, I was probably doing it for probably 3-4 years, and my mom. I never told my mom. My mom was always had hopes of me being an academic because I'm smart like that, and if they're watching this, it's facts. I like in a family of 5, my 4 siblings, I had the highest matric marks, and yet I'm the only one without a university degree. You know what I mean? Because I was like, no, man, I don't want to do this. Study for
That's
it.
how intelligent you are.
I know that I don't want to do this. So, Mama, being the academic that she is, I never wanted to tell her. I wanted to show her.
Mm-hmm.
So she heard from one of her friends, and her friend was being genuine. And my mom was like, obviously she doesn't think like that, but I mean, and then her parents are like, okay, I'm done. How comedian this morning?
Yo.
But she never stopped. Okay, then I'm fine. Cow, study something. Just like study something because you've got the academic capability. Study something. So when your career is not going well, I'm like, I will never stop until it goes well.
It goes well.
I will
Come
never
on
stop.
now.
And there's very different levels of what
Going
is
well,
going
yeah.
well. You know what I mean? So this one particular time, I think it was 2015. Get a call from Mayor Danny Yondana was still mayor. I get a call from one of the politicians. And guys, if you're an artist, don't ever negotiate your price with a politician.
Amen.
Send someone else to do it for you. Send another politician, because those guys will undercut you like by thousands. Anyway, I was hired to be MC for the gala dinner, which is like huge. Those old people play golf the whole day, and they come dressed in suits, and then you are master of ceremonies. And I remember, because I was staying in East London, so I came home to PE, and I remember asking my mom and my dad, like, say, well, ladies, what's your plans for tonight? I went to South London, and so we can leave that abantu baba bahle nge-funerals, you know what I mean? Like, and the ICC, don't.
Oh man.
I have to go first because call time and whatnot. I guess I'm no, your names will be there. So I get on, I set the mood, set the tone, and I've got these people just eating out of my hands. I've got all these politicians. I mean, you had Wonder Powerful, you had all these guys, like big wigs, and I had them eating out of my hands. And then I remember, because I had a joke, I think, about my parents. And I remember when they walked in, I saw them at the door. And they were hesitant about it, like to tell the people at the door about, my name is so-and-so. And the people at the door, so you're the mother. Oh, please, this way. And I could see them. And my parents are different like this because after the show, because I mean, I'm making fun of people, but in a friendly way. But I'm making fun of people that they see on TV. Like, I'm making fun of them, and they're laughing with me. And I had a great night. To the point that I had to go to the car and wait for my parents for like 45 minutes because people were surrounding them by, your son.
Yeah.
So when we get into the car, mama grand. Mama, what did you think? My dad is like, I was sebenzile, don't. Ewe. usebenzile umntana kodwa Mbulelo akuthetha olo hlobo nabantu abakhulu. And my dad is like, hayi manje sithandwa kaloku bedlala. When I understand bedlala but suthetha olo hlobo.
Awuthethi nabantu.
But I think that was
moment.
the day that I sort of got a nod from my parents, because
And
if
then
anything, that's the validation I need.
Yeah.
From those close to me.
Yeah.
So I think that was the nod, and I'm like, okay, now you have to keep it here. Now you have to keep it here. You can never borrow money from these guys again. Otherwise, they're gonna question my Ibo.
The way I
go. You know what I mean? I mean, you can like but you know, that was the day I'm like, okay, now
Amen.
on I can't move the foot off the pedal. So yeah, to answer your question, that was the day that I'm like, career. It was gigs. That was the day that was career.
Yeah.
Yonke into endizayenza has something to do with me being a comedian.
So stand up, Mbu. How did you come up? How did you come up about that? And wow.
You're anywhere. 2010, right? We had shows at Zanzibar, a place called Zanzibar in Parliament, every Thursday. And
Hey, Parliament, I do, my
yeah. Before it started smelling like jollof rice. That's not even a racist or xenophobic statement. That's just a fact.
No, it's a fact.
It smells like lawe. So I was performing there every Thursday. I'd walk from Love Heights. I'd walk there. This is like an hour and a half walk. Now.
Yeah, Love Heights is quite far.
I'd walk there, do my 15 minutes, get my $300, which is, if you're gonna take a cab back to Love Heights, that's gonna be like $200. So I'd rather just buy a packet of cigarettes and walk back, or get a lift somewhere close. But I didn't feel that. I'm walking. All I could think about is my set. When I never felt that walk, and I used to do it every Thursday. So I was performing the one time, and this kid called Abongile Oni, if I'm not mistaken, he was making t-shirts. One of the first people to make t-shirts. He had like a brand of t-shirts. And when I stepped off stage, he was like, dude, you've got many laughs, bro. You've got many laughs, but do you mind rocking one of my t-shirts? Are you going to be here next week? I'm like, yeah. Brings a t-shirt written Mbu, a.k.a. many laughs. And then that was the name that everybody knows. Nobody's going to be like, which many laughs? You know what I mean? That was me. Many laughs. And I think it was during the COVID year, or the year before that, I'm like, okay, that name I didn't give myself. That was a given name, yeah. But this is, I even started a company, Many Laughs. I'm like, nah, that does not. And then I'm like, stand up, boo. It says everything. It's very ambiguous in its meaning. You can stand up, boo. Well, and then I just and it started sounding it to myself, and then I started just pushing it out there. Stand up, boo. Stand up, boo. Stand up, boo. Because when you break it down, it's like, I'm a stand-up guy who does stand-up. You know what I mean? There's a lot of connotations and meaning to it. So stand-up, I'm like, let me go with this. Hence stand-up people. And you could use it as a prefix for anything. It's some stand-up ginger beer. You know what I'm saying? You looking for stand-up ginger beer? I drink it ginger eKhaya.
You know what? We should do that, Ed.
So it's a prefix and also a description. Yeah, boy. It's a prefix and description to anything that I do. A lot of people will unwittingly use it. Yeah, we'll be like, that's a stand-up guy, and you're like,
and you go,
That's so that with that there was thought behind it, but it also just I didn't have to write things down and carry the wine and don't cross that. No, it was
just
stand up.
So is it possible for a comedian to umntu akoko ahlekise okokoko for the rest of their lives. Like ahlekise up until abengutamkhulu. For instance, in jazz music, you find like okanye in music in general, ubani Harry Gwala, la tata, Tata Chuma Sekela, Miriam Makeba collapsed on stage, and soon after that wasweleka. Like, is it can it happen for a comedian?
It's the one genre that I think is the most possible, except for maybe poetry. But it's the one genre that probably, depending on how you perform, you exert the least amount of energy.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, you can't expect a drummer to live forever. You know, at some age, the drum, the sticks will only come up to a certain point. You know what I mean? Like, so,
But does it arthritis?
arthritis. When it comes to better lava, no. So with comedy, like, this could be the setup. Even if the Google say, just set it up for me, the grand, because you understand your limitations. You understand your limitations, so you know how to complement them, so to speak. For instance, me, I can't do accents. At
Okay,
all.
yeah.
So I have to use economy of words to quickly make you understand that, you know what I mean? Because it's I can't. And Shem, I'm lying, I've never tried. Like, I was like, nah, dog. And I'm like, I mean, everyone can do Mandela, but how many Mandela jokes can you do? You know what I mean? But you ask me to do anybody else, nah, I can't. Too Shem. Like, so you reference, so you sharpen. Sometimes you just leave it.
Yes.
So you strengthen sometimes where you are strongest at, rather than trying to sharpen where where you don't have an avenue. What was your question again?
Question number was, can someone be a comedian?
Yes. So then, with age, you will find other techniques to counter. You are growing. I mean, I saw an old man, and he seems like he just started coming. It's one of those things that is American dude. He's probably close to 90. It seems like those things that are in his bucket list, and he's like on stage, and he's hilarious because he's telling jokes about himself. Like, he talks about like dying and how close it is, but he does it in a smart way because he's not at the age where, it's gonna be, so I'm jumping up and down, right?
Yeah.
And this bitch comes out, I'm like, woo! and then her mama, no. He can't do that. So now he relies on words and crowd control. Also, he uses the fact that he's an old dude to his example, because when he keeps on stage, everybody's like, oh, shh, listen to the old man. And then he just hits you with some other shit. You're like, oh,
okay.
And then you don't forget that he's an old man, but you don't see him for that. You actually see him as a comedian who's older.
Brilliant,
Not an old man trying to be funny. You see him as a comedian who's just a bit older. So yeah, I look forward to that. I promise you, like, even as a Italian guys, siyabaza batata. Abazi why balena don't sumhoya ngam. Yeah, but he can just say any shit he wants because he's old enough, he's earned it. But I used to there was a friend of mine from Tanzania, and his dad had this one friend. I'm like, but he's tall and he's dark. Very dark. And but he dresses in tracksuits and rings and shit. And he calls all his friends nigga. These guys are in their 70s. But he's old enough. This is a nigga. So he's like, what's up, nigga? And he gets to me, he's like, what's up, nigga? Because I can't say what's up, nigga. So I'm like, molo, dad. And he's like, man, he's in Mbulelo. Mbulelo, man. Msongelwa. And my friend is standing right next to me. And this guy, childish, but he's old, he's earned his right. He's like, oh, mama kong lamdan. I'm like, no, I'm busy. But you can't hate on it. He's paid his dues. So uzawuthini for nento zakhe lo muntu akakhathalanga about opinion yakho.
Yeah.
He's saying whatever. So I'm
Can't
looking
wait.
forward to that. I'm so looking forward to that age where you can just say nonsense and people will be like, man, ngeke into amkhulu. Well, I'm 100% up here.
So social media, the effect of it in comedy, and also like now there's AI. A lot of people don't need ghostwriters anymore. They ask AI, but obviously but there's a need for la human touch where something it has to by ibene DNA yakho, and also social media uyafumanisa ba I remember seeing Unsika Kha, he wrote a joke on Facebook, and then I saw that joke on one of these podcasts and yeah, I saw that joke and I'm like, what? So umdu can like take that njengolo hlobo and aibe and make it their own.
There was, first of all, I don't even think I'm a purist. I'm just an artist. And with there's a process that goes into creating any art.
Yeah.
There's a process that goes with creating a joke, and that process is dear to me. It's like the difference between rolling a joint, going through that and rolling the joint. We born, and then buying one, say red. You don't have that, but joint, yeah. You don't have that. So even with a joke, it goes through a process in your head. Me, for example, I'll see something. I'm like, hey man, there's some funny icon in the lab. Icon in lab, but I can't give you an example. I've long retired this joke. If you'll indulge me, I used to see the hairstyles. Zamachir. It's beautiful, especially black women. Like, this is Fagaleo. No. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, it's a general knowledge, not.
but so anyway, I did not know where the punchline was in this, but I knew we called. It took me 2 years to write that joke, and it was only like a minute and 30 seconds long. So the joke, everywhere I'd go, I'd be like, hey man, it's not how they look. There has to be some other angle, and the one angle about how these hairstyles look. So I heard one girl saying, and there's a soft thread. I'm like, what the hell is that? Hot water. You know what I mean? Hey, what is that? That is a hairstyle. So I started going around and asking more names of hairstyles. And every time I get told, I'm like amazed. But that's the name for the hairstyle. So then I start the joke. I'm like, guys in the crowd, I'm about to give you a lesson on in the names of the hairstyles I'm a chair. Ladies, nishbanya talk. Corner e boycott. Yeah. Corny pump.
Yeah.
Corny carrot. Yeah. Corny soft thread. Yeah. Corny dry pam. Yeah. Corny eat bread. Yeah. Did you find ingathi kunqokoliwe ezithu zaseblawa? Uba yupeto friend yobeliti uyawafika uboycott kaloku wanti bam ngecarrot sana danyibilika ma f dayi soft red wafika ukhe wami ezenza udabred wandiqhoba ngempama ndaceba ndayi-dry pam sana ndaqomba sis iyayenza inqayi le kakakazi. So
you can't pretend like you got
So there's two ways to that. Yeah? There's ways of writing your jokes so they're unstealable. I don't see anyone stealing that joke. Yeah, but also the core of it is I don't understand how you can just take a product and present it as your own, because I felt that, man. Like I know where this joke come from. So when I tell it with all its history. And as far as social media goes, I don't know, man. You know, I think it helps. It helps a lot of people in terms of marketing, or as the producer would say, utengisa. um, there is a danger to it
Yeah.
because I guess if you see someone on TikTok singing, that's a person who can sing. That's a person who can sing. You can't take that away. There's no editing. That person can sing. You know, you can take them out of it. So when you see someone on TikTok being funny, with the edited videos or whatnot, I find a lot of people who come from social media struggle to make it on stage, to translate one of those two platforms. There are kids who are doing it like brilliantly. Like one guy's name I'll always Vusi, like no Vusi.
Yeah.
Vusi, because he started off as this with followers or whatnot. But what he understood is there are different platforms.
Yep.
He knows how to navigate. He knows, okay, here I am this person. On app I am this person. I am not gonna tell these people what, because most of the people who go see the shows is because of the videos. So now you can't now tell, there has to be some. So I think a lot of guys struggle with that. Comedians, there are comedians who could use it. I don't think I'm one of them. I try to advertise. I think I should do better in terms of like for business. But personally, I'm not a person like your name. Like, and I don't wanna. Sometimes I don't wanna set a work standard for myself. I mean, shoot the video and then that's it
on
for
stage.
the year. Like somebody like on TikTok maybe.
Okay.
And I shoot this brilliant video from angles, and then post it, and then it gets 1,000,000 likes, and then those 1,000,000 likes are like, when's the next one? Now and then I'm at the structured, back to being structured by okay, can I drop in and say, nah, I do it on my own time, up on Tandekon. And then for me, there's a certain persona that I've set with that, when it comes to social media. There's, people know, they know what I'm being serious, but they know mostly about, you know what I mean? Tambo. And when people, sometimes I get inboxes where someone will be like, yo, man, every time like I'm like going through some shit, I will just go through your timeline, and I'm like, yo, dog, I do it exactly for that. Not even I don't care if you like it or not. Sometimes I like write something. Yo, that is hilarious. Like, that is hilarious. It's a brilliant tool, man. It's a brilliant marketing tool used right. Obviously, there are people who are very good at it. I unfortunately am not one of them. I have no idea what's happening on Instagram, and your ass, man. Ingandiyajajwa phaa like ingandiyajajwa like ingandipresse into wrong every time.
Instagram is, especially when you used to Facebook, it's not easy for you to Instagram and Twitter. It's two different worlds.
So what I usually do, I'll post like a post on Instagram, post a post on Twitter, and then I'm not accepted here. Go Facebook, don't post the morals. Don't post the morals on Facebook.
And we are there for you.
Number one fan, producer. And I find it, I know.
Yeah,
if I not going I'm wasting my time. It's probably one of the most important tools of our lifetimes. Used right. Another problem with social media, right, is that uyazikhumbula zantwana sodlala nazo cricket, yabona, uyikhuphe ithi hayi bengekho ready, uphinde uyikhuphe ithi fana uyachita,
no ball,
ibhet lam lidiniwe, goduke. Sometimes people have the marketing capabilities on social media without actually having a product. I remember when we first went to move to Joburg, I went to go join Usiya how I say we'd go to perform in Joburg. And then when we went to 2016, Usiya and I'm like, yo man, I'm joining you, back room. not bigger than that, like, but we sizophaka mos apha sizopheka apha komntu ufuna comfort. And immediately you were sort of intimidated by some guys because of the posts that you see. Like you've never seen him perform, but ubona ipost zakhe fundini iposter zakhe zinhle. Yena umjito une website, yo noma kanyiwa apha. Yo. Hey man, you watch this guy, dude. Yeah, and then I think that's where most of my umnayinto yanceda eGauteng ndafika sendijani, so I wasn't there to bandixelele that yo makudinela uyabona no
Yirhulumani
ngakulingi. So I was like ayikho le nto yikaya sintswembu most much. And yo dude, it was such a because it was me, Siaseya. Sorry to digress again, but this is maybe I don't get a chance to tell it. It was me, Siaseya, and Lupelo, and Kosnati Mike. The only 4 closer comedians that we know in the circle, like we'd go perform at Soweto. So our MO, because Usia was already established. Profile, he had a name, he was making his name. So Usia, he'd tell the promoter, yo, come up, boys here with dudes. Me. Give them 5 minutes. So you've got 5 minutes. It's like an interview. Yeah, but you've got 5 minutes to kill, because when you kill next week, yo man, it sounds simple enough, right? Nasifika pie like Soweto. All these guys have the same jokes.
Yeah.
Or they overlap somehow, but it's generally the same doors. And then you get these 4 closer guys, don't have the same style, just use the same language, but each jokes,
different content.
It's content kasi. And like I felt much doesn't to him. I think my proudest moment in that era of ours, Namachita, was when there's one night. See, I was booked in Naval, I was booked in Santon, I think Mbulelo was booked. Or something called Mpumalanga. But we were on 3 different posters. And I'm like, yeah, Machit.
Yeah, I'm having goosebumps.
and we knew our mandate, bruh. We never really spoke about it, because we'd go different paths. We'd go, just come back, and then gradually went their own path. I'll tell you now, it's almost 10 years later. It's, 8 years later? All 4 of us have taken all that knowledge.
Come on now.
We're all back. Everybody, Lupelo is back in Devon. See you, Lapapai. I mean, East London, not to Lapapai. And we are all Sitlakulab with all the knowledge. I think it's very important, Jan, to go there and collect the knowledge, but understand, Bafanin, I don't want to stay in that godforsaken place.
Even me, bro,
but I understood the necessity to be there and network and yabon. But
so that these kids as Landela don't have to go through the same things that we went through.
At all. If you find a poster close to you, show me it. I probably know the guy who's organizing it. I'll get you stage time, because we've made those contacts. We've made those contacts. That's very important.
And that's what we need. Like in as vast as art is, that's what we need, because like in the Eastern Cape, sityebile kakhulu. It's just that it's kukho abantu abavalela abanye abantu igate, and akho need yalonto leyo. And then even these kids, when you get to teach them izinto ezintsha, and then I think befana ba wazi better now, because I think the nice thing about era yethu, I'm gonna say era yethu. The nice thing about the era yethu is that we know the analog world, we know the digital world, and we find like the best in both worlds, and all of that. And I think we are the perfect generation to give to these kids and yo man, yes,
dude, because dude, and you share power. You share responsibility, just like you, because you share responsibility when you share power. Yeah, but it's a form of delegation. But as I always tell my team, like stand up people, "Bah, like I say, I'm a lazy dude. I will work when I need to. Please believe I'm not that lazy dude who's not gonna do it. No, 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 no. I'd rather be chilling, but I will work when I need to. I'm like Machita. By the end of all of this, I want us to all be sitting on the same table. It's simple as that. I want us to all be sitting on the same table, talking the same matters. I can't be in 5 years' time. Come
Because
for this gig.
it's gonna get heavy, even forward.
Also, there will be a point in my life when I'm not, because I'm concentrating really on my one man shows now. You know what I mean? I'm really concentrating on my content in terms of, building up, because it's a measure of growth. I think one man shows, like, I always do one every year in the Grahamstown Fest. So I compare them, and you see how much you've grown in a year. Yeah, bon. So at some stage it is gonna become too much. And like I said, I'm not your heart just man again, man. You're the grand can't even be saying, like book me, figure
Man.
I'm kick my feet up,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
But yeah, it's exciting, but we need to facilitate these things for
We
these
do.
kids. We
We
need, and
do.
yeah,
We do. So talking about social media and Don, how can we differentiate between being funny and being offensive? Because I feel like comedians, they get away with a lot of izindo, and sometimes umdu would say something offensive but in a teachable way. Yabo, sometimes would tell the truth in an offensive way. So when do we when how can we separate?
it's
Okay, where do we draw the line between being offensive and funny or kanye funny?
everything has context.
Okay.
So it's a matter of understanding the context. And now, as a comedian, sometimes you have a very short space to paint this context. You know what I mean? So it's a matter of skill. Sometimes you see, oh, Shem, he didn't mean it like this. No, 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 no. I mean, you can tell sometimes, but he didn't mean it. It's a matter of skill. I don't know, man. Like, also, and this might be a little bit controversial. You choose to be offended.
Ooh.
You choose to be offended. If a white guy come up and call me a gaffer, I mean, it's wrong of him, but I'm not gonna be offended by that. What the fuck you think is 1983, nigga? That shit don't work.
Yeah.
You know
So
what I mean?
he's the one.
Yeah, but
Oguyodum.
Guyodum,
Yeah.
yeah, but and then now what you find with social media, and I hate this. I hate this. When people recruit people
Ooh.
to be offended, you understand? I'd put something up. I'm making fun of Unsika and his height. And someone else who does not understand the context of our relationship
Ooh.
will be offended Unsika hasn't said anything, will be offended on Tsika's behalf. And then will generalize, but what are people like you? No, 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 no. We should cancel people like you. No, no. We now Unsika hasn't said anything. Yeah, but so I think I hate it when people get offended on behalf of other people. It's such a white people. I'm sorry. It's a white thing to. It's a very 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 white thing to do, because at any given time, like white people can just change words because they've been using it as offensive. For instance, you can't call people retarded now because white people are like no.
Ooh.
Yet I bet you can't show me one mentally disabled person who's ever complained about that. I heard I was at Spa like years back. I was at Spa and these two white women are talking in front of me. I think I was fixing the garden with my dad. So I think and this one white woman says to this lady, well, this black gentleman don't know. And this other white lady says, no, you can't call them black anymore. They don't like that. I'm like,
Did I complain?
I'm like, show me this person who doesn't want to be called black.
Black.
So we have this culture of this westernized culture where, for every word that, and I think it goes deeper because like the Western world will do something for years, and then when they had enough of it, they'll be like outlaw. You know what I mean? From murder to pillaging to colonizing. As soon as my grand, guys, this is wrong. Let's not do this thing to each other. Let's not call each other retarded.
Let's not call each other faggot.
Let's not call each other black. In fact, I feel uncomfortable for you. I understand. It's time. Like, man, it's tiring, but also I'm not like an activist of anything, but my mind. I'm not gonna go and march on the streets. Bring back the words. No. I'm not gonna do that. I won't even talk about it on social media. I'll talk about it amongst my friends. People that I engage with, because there's a friendship there. And there's an understanding that we're having a conversation. And on social media, sometimes you find that they're not here to listen to you. This one post, it's quite a, and people who are friends of mine on Facebook will actually comment and tell you about this. I think it was about 3-4 years ago when the legendary Kobe Bryant died.
Yeah.
Of Black Mamba. One of my favorite players ever in basketball. So I posted there. Guys, Kobe Bryant is now an ancestor. R.I.P. Mamba. I wanna. It's not. This lady says, "Why would you make a joke about no?
Oh.
What if his family reads it? I'm like, ufaka ne family yakhe. Did he come the way and show me where the joke is? Why would you call him the ancestor? Was about comfortable when Bob and angel? And then this lady." People started chiming in, but no, but sis, and wouldn't go wrong, no. Say, Kwena, what's wrong? Hairstyle, no. Hi, but sis, and Iboni, no. No, go and Amakazi. The shades are not the end. I promise you. Like I'll post the link on the comment section of this episode.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look for it and I'll put. There was over, I think, 600 comments. And please understand, it's people going, but sisi, asiboni ndoro. Futek na we, yabona to show a profile picture 10. I'm like, and then people were inboxing me on some history. And I'm like, I've never met this lady before. So she came. I'm gonna choose violence. Understand that she didn't comment to understand what I meant. She was fucking a situation that is not part of. But what if Kobe Bryant's family? I almost wanted to say, but mention one family member. Like, don't Google, just mention one family member of Kobe. Like, why would they even see this? And why would you think that this would offend them?
Even why? Yeah, anything of fun, but there's a joke in it.
What him now? Trevor Noah Mapara.
Aye.
That's where that name comes from. Parallel English. Parallel English, bro. That was the name that comes from my sister. And then that's where I guess maturity comes in, because I won't be dragged into such. Because I'm very capable.
No.
I'm very capable, but I'm not gonna be dragged. If it's just insult. If it's facts, no, Kobe Bryant said this in a 2007 interview, but he'll never be an ancestor. Something. But to just immediately, because my profile picture, I have a microphone and I'm on stage. Everything, you read it in that energy.
Yeah.
Yo, everybody, Kobe Bryant's now an ancestor. Yo,
R.I.P. Mamba.
I think about how would I. So I think that's every new invention, man. Like, any new thing always has, some
pros
time.
and cons.
It is pros and cons, and you just have to navigate it proper. And, watch what you say, apparently, because Bantu will dig up stuff. And I can't wait. Like, if that lady like had to, I don't know, run for office, or she wants to be president of something, do you still feel like this?
Because ngoku, like I remember Kevin Hart lost his job because of a tweet that he did 10 years ago.
And that's the thing. I'm like, Machita, like, I think I have a lot to say, but I feel that, especially with social media, a lot of people would rather, let's say Umdu has I don't know, has a problem with color red. Yeah, well, instead of like walking away from the color red, they'd rather get everyone else to have a problem with the color red. Uba Machita man, masingayithandi yonke le, right? Masingayithandi. And now I see it with kids now, because you have this parenting style where they don't hold their kids accountable. They'd rather blame the world. Yeah, and people always like you would say something in a joke, and someone would be like, "Yeah, what would kids say about the fuck do I care about your kids, man? Raise your own kids, man. See, I've got kids. They know that I do this, and they're doing just fine."
Yeah.
Whereas, so now kids live outside in, if that makes sense. They take in those papa and then Tina as parents inside, we have to ask by iPhone. Whereas when we grew up, we were a representation of our families. Wherever we went, we took our values with. Because wherever you went, you can't just say Kamala Mbulelo. Nobody cares about that. People care about Msongelwa, and then they pinpoint about, okay, so anything that you do, whether it's good or bad, is representative of the house that you're coming from. Yeah, so that's why when I said to you, but I can't really care what people like Umdongamazio says, you know what I mean? I'll care about what my mom thinks, care about my father thinks, care about my siblings thinks, care about my friends think. Yeah, but those are the people I look for validation from, for approval from, not the world. And when I go out there, I'm a representation of them. And the further you go, the more representative you are. Because outside your house, you are the representative of your house. Outside your city, you are the representative of Gqeberha. Outside of Gqeberha, you are the representative of Eastern Cape, and so forth and so forth. And you take up on Alaba, but you maintain the values of your house, your streets, you maintain those values. Into zawubuya nayo pha is into ezingekhoyo apha. But you maintain those values. You'd almost feel engathi and then ukhawuleza unansika. So now imagine only fans. But that's the point I'm trying to make, is that it's the difference between living inside out and living outside in.
Yeah.
It's very hard to maintain outside in.
Yeah.
Because outside in changes all the time. Outside changes all the time. Imagine having to change with the weather. What when we represent the weather. So every time we more, whereas if you are just a representative of your house, prepared for whatever is there, to maintain when
So talking about being representatives of Indawo Esuka Kuzo, I went to Ilenduk, your show, stand up, your roast, when you were turning 40. And I saw your kid there. Hey, yakora. Yakora. So I know you started late. Nam, I was a late boomer. You started late, but he's younger, and it seems like he might follow your footsteps when it comes to commit. So what would you tell him? And in this sense, what would you tell your younger self? But in this instance, Ngunyana wako.
Be funny. No. People always try to complicate comedy. Be funny. There's no. That's the only formula. Be funny. There's no subject matter that you have to study. There's nothing. You talk. You just are funny about what you know. Don't try. Uh, let's say you listen to Trevor Noah. A lot of like I think I did that when I was younger. I listened um, to Trevor Noah, and this guy's talking about Jacob Zuma and whatnot, and people are, you know, and then I'm like watching politics. I'm like, no man, I'm not. You don't have to just be funny, and with my son, and I teach him context. Like I remember when he was there, and people were like, "Oh, Ireland, Ireland." Did you know? Don't worry. This is my son. Like speak however you want to speak. But Tukan, however you want to don't make him your excuse. He understands context. I can't put up and call everyone a motherfucker just because we tell motherfucker or his dad. So he understands context. He understands. So that I think you teach your child that. Angathi phuma part how that you no, he understands, but we don't talk like that. But there's context behind it. He understands. I was trying to make, and I don't really think he's gonna end up to be a comedian. It's just his daddy's work. Like I encourage my as soon as he turned like into his teens, I encourage him to know what his dad does. My daughters, nobody can tell them what their dad does. I think a lot of people in our say industries, about the art space, abantwana bethu, they counterparts, our counterparts, their parents, the doctors and whatnot. So you sometimes you're like, hey, andifuna umntana
Yeah.
mandimxelele uba ndisebenza endaweni ethile qha instead of what exactly that I do.
Uyenzayo.
And umntana, no matter what you do, your child will be proud of you. Like the one child could be like, "Hey, my mom is a doctor," and your child will be like, "Yo, my dad's a garbage man. He drives a truck. Your mom doesn't have a truck." Bop, 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 bop. You know what I mean? Like kids will always be proud of you. So I choose to always like let them know. Like I come to no. They would be like, "Yo, your dad's a funny comedian." We know. What else is you can't be mad. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Yeah, man.
No, that's great. What is making it for you? What does it look like?
There's levels, man. There's levels within the years. Yeah, because goals and ambitions change.
Now.
So making it is where I am. It's being able to feed it to be better than I was yesterday. I'm at a comfortable like writing like situation. When I'm about my happy, that's obviously we can all make more money, man. Just a little guap, double story house. Actually, back on I don't even need a double story house. But
Life a comfortable.
comfortable life. But I'd never measure making it by those terms. That's it's very fickle because you can get all the money in the world and then you could just go away. Does that take away you making it? Do you understand? So it's for me it's levels that you want to be at. I've made it in my writing, I've made it in my performing, I've made it in my stage presence. I've made it and I'm only gonna get better. I'm not gonna now. Yo, mnanam, pulila boy, selithi ngizobiya. There's a loan in your spina. There's a spina. It's a comedian's boy. I've made it. Yes, boy. No. It's not that. Like it's made it for me is where I am, man. Like didn't call for a podcast. Why else would you call? Why else would you be called to come and talk at a podcast? You know what I mean? There has to be some level of making it. When it's that and being recognized. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of being recognized as the pioneer that I am. Obviously, like I said, when your ambitions and goals change over years. When I started coming, I didn't give a fuck about the industry, man. I didn't care about the culture at all. I was doing it for me. And then within that, I'm like, yeah, man, why don't we do this? Like, for instance, when I started doing comedy, I noticed the state of Gqeberha hip hop. Gqeberha PE hip hop at the time. And I saw exactly when they made the mistake. It was, I think it was around 2002, 2003, 2001. 8 Mile had just come out. Now, usually, because there wasn't much of an audience to distribute, you'd have one show on Friday, you'd have one show on Saturday, so that you concentrate everyone in this hip hop, because there's not that much to have. And then the one night that amongst I don't know, it was I don't know the reason, but there was a show in Motherwell and there was a show in Central. And as a result, they were both empty. Because we didn't have the audience to support that, where they could have had one on Friday and one on Saturday, so that everything is gone. So as soon as I started meeting other comedians, I'm like, dude, let's go. Another comedian, let's go. And then we were 4, and then we were 5, and then we were 6. So in that thinking of mine, back then, 15 years ago, that thinking of mine has set a culture in the Eastern Cape when it comes to comedy. There's a network that every comedian knows each other. Yes, there will be bickering now and then, but it's not going to touch what the culture is, but we work together. And we're building this audience to the point now, you can have 2 shows of comedy in PE, and they'll both be sold out. You can have that, because we've cultivated that. And it's not a matter about, I'm saying to, why are you going to do your show the same night as me? No, it's understandable. But no, there's enough. There's enough to go around. But back then, there wasn't. There was not. But even now, you go to any comedy show, there'll be 3 guys on the poster and 5 other comedians. And you're going to get more than those 3 guys on the poster, because we are always there. It's a culture. And I mean, I didn't start that in the world, but with Eastern Cape comedy, I unwittingly so, I started the culture. King of the Eastern Cape, man.
Yeah, no, this was, I don't know, educational. I think even for me, as someone that is also in the art space, not particularly in comedy. So before we go, I'd like to know your favorite meal and why.
Don't change the subject. Where are my earphones? Okay, no budget. Earphones. Season 5, I want to be hearing and Beats by Dre.
Yeah, asnaman.
Link by PayPal. Start half and funny Beats by Dre.
Yes.
Is
Beats by Dre, guys.
To be honest with you, I like anything with meat.
All
but
right.
especially pork chops.
Come on now.
Then rice nomncindo. It's another funny story. I used to, before furniture, way before I was elected, I used to work at Spur as a waiter. Now waiters are very judgmental. Because it's young tips. So we see what car you stepped off. And especially black people, if you are not, people would never want to serve black people because, they are notorious for not tipping. And this one particular day, exactly that age in Tetanga, you can walk in anywhere, whatever nonsense you want because you paid your dues. Tata waingen, hey, molen. Hlale phansi, tata mkhulu, and he'd be here with his grandkids. Cool, TV, tungadlali rugby kulo mzi. It'd be that type of dude. And nomlungu, good evening, molo kwathini. Like, and you just felt the energy. He sits down, dinike menu. Ithi tata uzawutya ntoni? Ithi yofuna ndingena apha kwakho. Undibuza uba ndizawutya ntoni? Khawuphake le nto iphekiweyo kwathini. And then uyamazi umntu omdala uba ufuna ntoni mfundini. Yabo? Namthi steak. So 200 at that time 200 was huge
a lot,
for steak.
yeah.
Dimthi rice, dimthi gravy, veg. Yabo? Qha chini. Ungithi ngubani? Nxele. Again, guy tipped me $200 every time. And then khona ingenayo phaya. Ithi upunxele.
Oh man.
Nxele, I was in a plate. Phekwe ntoni namhlanje? Obviously, I'll switch it up sometimes. Ayikhathalanga uba ayikho menu le uzadibanisa wena. So I think I'm that guy. Like plate. I feel that sorry guys. I feel that most black divorces are caused because umama ekhaya wapheka ukutya ongena gravy Sunday. Yo mntana lam Monday wayesipana akaphinda abuya. Yo ukutya ngena gravy Sunday imagine udikwe icawa. Ufike ukutya ngena gravy bro. Umncindo is very important in a black man's Xhosa man's diet bro. I'm not going to talk for all black men. So yeah man.
Pork chops.
Pork chops. Rice, I'm not a starch person, but it's necessary because umnindo man uzoyapha umnindo.
Yeah.
Rice,
Dakfeel.
a bed of rice.
Dakfeel. Yeah, no. We'll nibble on that meal. Namhlanje.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us and loving this show. Thank you for subscribing and liking. Thank you for watching. Thank you for recruiting your family members to watch. Keep on supporting this. Keep on supporting these people. Igama lam ndinguvuyiseka Maguga. This is Msongelwa and siyabulela kakhulu. Until we meet again.
Thank you guys, man. This is awesome. This is awesome.